Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another Wednesday Westside Wellbeing with myself, Jamie from Coaches for Change. Today, we are going to do some dynamic mobility and stretching in the form of a Pilates sequence. So, all we're going to do, find that space that you're going to be working out in today, and we're just going to start by opening up the hips. So we're going to do some gate openers, as we call this. So we're going to lift the knee up, rotate the hip out, and just allow that foot to naturally find its way back down onto the floor, and we're just going to keep it to that one side. So I've started with the right hand side here, but again, if you started with the left, no problem at all, because we're going to just go for 4 more on the side we're working to, and then switch it to that other side. Really rolling and rotating through that hip, working through that hip flexor muscle and getting a little bit of activation into our glute minimus as well. All right, so from here, refine that balance, and we're going to work into the opposite side. So we lift the knee up, open and rotate it out, and then bring it back down to the floor. This is going to be a good little test for your balance as well, and it's really going to help you identify which hip has that little bit more range of movement through that hip joint into that hip flexor muscle and the glute. We're just going to go 4 more on this side. And again, just find that balance, nice and steady, nice and controlled. Find that little point of focus for the eye line to keep that balance. Last one on this side, we rotate through and pause. Lovely stuff. So from here, we're going to keep that stance, hip width apart. We're going to bring the right arm up and over and really stretch into the obliques down that right hand side as you contract into the obliques. On the left, really allow that spare arm to fall down the outside of the thigh. We're going to close it all the way in, and then take that other arm up and over. Really try not to force that stretch, but just allow the body to naturally use that gravity to bend over. Lovely stuff. We're going to switch it back into the other side. Really good for stretching out the rib cage and the lat muscles and the reducts in the shoulders, and getting that contraction into those oblique muscles on the other side, into that side we're leaning into. We're going to go 1 more inside each side. Nice big inhale and exhale and lean it over. We're going to come back into the centre. 1 more into that final side. Just making it a little bit shorter each time. Lovely stuff. Nice. So from here, we're going to take that stance just outside shoulder width apart. And we're going to start working into the hips and getting into the shoulder joints as well. So what we're going to do is, you can imagine you can keep the palms open, or imagine like you're holding the weight. We're going to swing and bring the arms below the hips, and then just slowly start to utilize the shoulder joints as well as the hips and the knees. So push those hips straight back behind you. And as you drive them forward, really squeeze into the glutes as well. Getting that position through the hips. Getting into our glute activation as well. From here, we're going to start taking the arms all the way up and overhead. So again, just allow the arms to be nice and light. Work through that range of movement still. Getting that little extra expansion through the spine as we open up and lengthen out through the abdominal muscles. 4, 4, 4, 3, 4, 2, and 4. Wow, lovely stuff. Nice. Give the legs a little bit of a shake. That would have increased the heart rate slightly from there. So we're going to take that stance out that little bit wider now. So a good way outside of that shoulder width. And what we're going to do, we're going to go together. We're going to drop into the left knee. From here, you're going to allow your hips to come straight over that lateral plane. So you bring the knee, bend into the right knee, and then we elevate back up, bend back into the left, Slide the hips over that lateral plane, bringing that bend into the right, and elevate back up. Kind of drawing a rainbow with the hips here as you come up and over and back down into that stretch. Obviously, so really working the hips here, but more in that lateral plane of movement. Really good for the hamstrings and the adductors on the inside of the thighs. Working into those knee joints without putting any pressure through them. So we're going to slide over from here. We're going to take it the opposite way. So we're going to slide through that lateral line, lift the hips up and over, bend into that knee. Lovely stuff, and just smoothly transitioning from one bent knee into the other by sliding the hips across that central plane, that lateral plane, and working the stretch into the adductors. Lovely stuff. We're going to come up and over. We're going to go for 2 more. We slide across, up and over with the hips, and then that last one, come back up nice and central. Lovely stuff, everyone. So from here, we're going to work into the hips a little bit more and into the hamstrings and the adductors. So what we're going to do, hands are going to come onto the hips, pull your belly button in, zip it up towards your diaphragm, and then just allow your torso to start to pitch forward, keeping that nice straight line with the spine. Find that range where you feel like it's about to round, and we'll just hold that position. Take a nice few big breaths, and on your next big exhale, allow yourself to fold forward that little bit more, trying to imagine like you're sandwiched, or the torso sandwiched between 2 planes of glass. Really getting that stretch down the hamstrings, down the adductors on the inside of the thighs. And we're just going to hold for 3, 2, and 1. Carefully elevate up through the hips, and we're going to hold this position. From here, you're going to turn the toes in once, turn the heels in once, and then what we're going to do is we're going to sink the hips straight down, trying to keep that spine nice and long. See if you can bring your elbows in between the knees, palms together, so you can really open up into those hips. And we're just going to hold here. We're going to elevate up, and then we're going to lower it back down again, just to release that tension, and then take it back into that real hip stretch and opener. We're going to elevate back up. We're going to go down once more, so we take it down and find that position. And we're just going to hold for 3, 2, and 1, and we're going to elevate back up. From here, turn the feet back in, bring the hips or the stance just at shoulder width apart, and we're just going to go into some hip rotations from here. So into those hula hoop rotations. So just starting to loosen up, mobilize into those hip flexors, because we put quite a bit of load and stretch through them. We're going to go for 3 more rotations in this direction. And then as we come round, take a little pause and start to take that hip rotation in that opposite direction. And we're just going to go for 3, for 2, and for 1. Lovely stuff, nice. So from here, stance is going to be about shoulder width apart. Hands are going to come in front of you. You can overlap the hands. And what we're going to do is going to go into some dynamic swings. So you're going to allow the hips to rotate. And as the hips rotate through that back leg, bringing it up onto the tiptoes. So again, really mobilizing through the hips, taking the hands up and overhead. So that's going to increase that heart rate. Really good for that hip rotation. If anyone tends to play golf, this is a good warm-up movement for you. Nice, and we're just going to go for 4 more repetitions, for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Lovely stuff. Give everything a little bit of shake off. Take a little bit of water on board as well if you wish to. Because from here, what we're going to do is we're going to bring it down onto the mat. So I'm going to turn onto the side here. We're going to work into the hips again, quite a lot of hip work today, getting into the glutes, the hamstrings, and a little bit of the quads here. So you can start by sitting on the heels and having the toes tucked under. Or if you have that range of mobility and you wish to, you can tuck the feet under and really sit down onto the heels. But again, this is going to utilize the knee joints quite a lot. So if you have any knee pain, keep it elevated onto the tiptoes. And all we're going to do from here is you're going to lift the hips up, drive them forward and squeeze into the glutes, and then lower them back down. Drive the hips up, squeeze into the glutes, and then carefully lower it back down. And again, if you're working on a hard surface here, if you need to pause and get a pillow for under your knees, because it is going to work into that knee joint quite a lot. And for myself, on a hard floor, even on a mat, I can feel it. Really making sure you're engaging and squeezing into the glutes as you come up to the top end. So we're working the quads and the hamstrings on the lower and the lift, and then activating to the glutes, utilising the hips. We're going to go for 3 more. We're going to elevate up, squeeze, lower it back down. 2 more. Elevate up, squeeze, lower it back down. And again, I'm going to tuck the toes for this last one so you can still drive up, squeeze, and then lower it back down. Lovely stuff, everyone. Nice. So I'm going to turn myself back towards you. And what I'm going to do is you're going to bring the feet together. You can still be elevated up on the tiptoes, or you can fold the feet under. Hands are going to come onto the floor. Try and sit back onto the heels as much as you can and open up the thighs through the hips as wide as we can. And just place the palms flat on the floor. Try and relax the shoulders as much as you can and just sit back into the hips and the heels. This is really going to stretch the quads but contract the hip flexors, work into the adductors on the inside of the thighs. We're just going to hold for 3, 2, and 1. Use your body weight to lift your torso up slightly. And from here, we're going to keep the left hip over the left knee. We're going to extend the right leg out to the side. And from here, what we're going to do is we're going to bring that left hand onto the floor and start to elevate the arm up and over the head. So a little bit like that stretch we did to start with, but now we're just taking it to a little bit more dynamic position. And we're just going to hold for 3, 2, and 1. We're going to close the arm up. Now we're going to put a bit of movement into it. So we allow the arm to freely move, come up and over the head. Place that left hand back onto the floor. Go into that stretch. Find that range. Carefully bring yourself back out. We're going to go for 3 more from here before we switch it into the other side. So we're going to go for 3. Really lengthening out through the spine. 4, 2. Last repetition. We open it all up and then take it back into that stretch and just hold for 3, 2, and 1. And bring yourself back out. And let's bring both knees back onto the floor. And again, from here, we're going to keep that right hip over that right knee. Extend that left leg out to the side. And we start working that stretch. We bring the left arm up, right hand down to the floor. And again, just really work into that spinal length while also getting that mobility as well by really squeezing into the obliques on one side, lengthening through the obliques on the rib cage and the other. And again, it's mobility, movements and stretches like this that really help you identify which side has that little bit more range of movement than the other. We're going to go for 3 more. 4, 3. You'll bring it all the way back up. Last 2, take the arm up and over. 4, 2. Last repetition. And 4, 1. Lovely stuff, everyone. Nice. Bring yourself back to the centre. Take a little pause. Refine that balance. We're going to elevate it back up onto the feet. And we're just going to open up that stance as wide as we can. And just hold here Again, really just holding the positions nice and wide and that lateral stretch. So working into that internal hip mobility and flexibility in this lateral plane of movement, getting a stretch into the adductors on the inside of the thighs. By opening up the legs as wide as you can, you get some activation into your glute minimus as well. It runs around the base of the back, into the side of the hips and the pelvis. From here, we're going to bring the core into play a little bit. So you're going to pull the belly button in and think about zipping and lifting up towards the diaphragm. So we can really engage those transverse abdominals in the base of the core and try and keep that pulled in and zipped up. And we're just going to hold here. We're going to hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. See if you can keep the belly button pulled in, pitch the hips forward, allow the hands to come down towards the floor. Don't worry about if you round into your back here, because you're going to allow your head to become nice and heavy. And just hold this position. And from here, we're going to take the arms out a little bit wider as well, so we can rest the palms and see if you can open up that stance that little bit wider, but honestly, don't worry if not. And we're just going to hold here, really opening up the adductors and the hips, utilizing the shoulder joints here and the arm muscles just to hold that position and get deeper into that stretch. And we're just going to hold for 3, 2, and 1. To keep the legs where they are, slide the hands a little bit further in. And from here now, you are going to try and straighten out through that spine. So lift the head up. Try and find that in the range, really squeeze or relax the shoulder blades to allow that spine just to come in between those shoulder blades. And we're just going to hold for 3, 2, and 1 right now. So we get out of this position, so start to carefully turn the toes in, turn the heels in, toes and heels. Just find that range till you found that balance on the feet. Give your socks a little reshuffle if you need to. And we're going to take a little bit more water on board. And from here, we're just going to increase that heart rate a little bit. So we're going to go into some more strength and mobility movements here. So we're going to utilize a cat crawl and add in some shoulder touches as well. Shoulder touches are optional. So if we're going to come onto the tiptoes, flare the knees out at 45-degree angles. You're going to walk your hands down the mat, find that range into that high plank, squeeze the glutes from here, tap one hand onto one shoulder, other hand onto the other shoulder, and then bend the knees, push the hips back and start to walk the hands back down the mat. And again, as you take it out, walking into that high plank, squeeze the glutes. If the shoulder touches feel a little bit too much, don't worry about them, eliminate them, and just come into that high plank. Engage and squeeze the glutes for a moment. So you're holding that high plank for about 3 seconds instead, and then walking your way back in. Obviously, we're going to go for 3 more of these. We're going to extend it out into that high plank, engage and squeeze the glutes, bring one hand to the opposite shoulder, and again, really make sure you're bending the knees and pushing the hips back as you walk the hands back out. We take it all the way out, 2 more from here, squeeze the glutes, shoulder tap or hold the plank instead, and then walk it all the way back in. Last one, we're going to take it all the way out. Again, I'm going to go for that plank variation here. So I just squeeze the glutes, hold for a count of 3, and then walk it all the way back in. Good work, everyone. That should increase the heart rate, work the hamstring, the shoulders, the core, the glutes. So from here, we're going to bring it back onto the knees. We're going to walk the hands out, and we're going to come into a kneeling plank position. So from here, creating a nice straight line from the shoulders all the way down to the knees, arms nice and straight. And we're just going to hold this as a plank. Good variation as well. It also allows you to hold it a lot longer, I should say, than in that classic plank position, but it really helps activate into those abdominal muscles. So now we're going to add a little bit of movement. Everything's going to stay nice and still when it comes to the arms and the knees, but you're going to push your hips backwards. Find that range where the arms become nice and long, And then again, take those hips forwards, making that nice straight line between the shoulders and the knees. Squeeze the glutes as we hold that plank for a moment. And then we take the hips back. Squeeze the hips forward and squeeze those glutes. Good. We're going to go for 3 more of these. And again, you can keep your toes on the ground at all times if you wish to, so I'll show you that variation. It's just going to restrict the movement that little bit, but also still allow us to work and contract into the glutes and the core. Last one, we rock it back, take it forward, squeeze the glutes. And from here, just so we can stretch everything out through that movement, push the hips back again, rest the feet on the floor, allow the hands to follow those hips, sit back onto the heels, and we're just going to stay here. And we're just going to take 3 nice big inhales, 3 nice big exhales. And when you're ready, carefully lift yourself up. Take a little moment. And there you have it, your 20-minute dynamic mobility stretch Pilates class with ourselves today from Coaches for Change here for Westside Wellbeing on a Wednesday afternoon. Please feel free to like, subscribe. We'll be back next week with yoga. Have a good day, everyone.